I personally feel that no young man in their early 20s should be prioritizing paying all of the bills in the home that they live in with their girlfriend. I personally feel privileges like that are things that you discuss when you're on the edge of marriage and when you're actually married. I will be teaching my sons that they should prioritize their single life, their career development, locking in good mental and physical health routines, and enjoying living alone first. That's something that I never experienced, living alone, right? I went from my childhood home to living with my girlfriend, right? And my wife never put any type of pressure on me in regards to paying all of the bills. This was just something that I saw growing up. My father was a man who paid all the bills. My grandfather was a man who paid all the bills. So it was always in the back of my mind that one day, if I could, that would be something that I would be interested in moving towards. But my wife never put that type of pressure on me, right?
Look, I'm going to start by saying this clearly that I agree with him. I agree with that 100%. A man in his early 20s should not be prioritizing paying all the bills for a woman who is not his wife. Period. That part is 1000% correct. Your 20s are supposed to be about building discipline, building competence, getting your body right, like he said, right? Getting in the gym, getting your mind right. Hell, I mean, figuring out what kind of man you're even becoming. Not playing husband before you are one. That shit doesn't make any sense. Where I think people miss the point is the idea that paying all the bills is some kind of proof of masculinity. It's not. Masculinity is leadership and self-mastery, not premature sacrifice. Now, his background matters. He saw his father do it. He saw his grandfather do it. Most of us never had that privilege. That plants a seed. I didn't grow up with that example. I wish I did. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s where the message was get your own place with your girl, right? She can work. You guys can combine incomes. You can build together, one day buy a house, and you live the American dream, having 2.5 kids. All of that shit sounded reasonable back then, 4 decades ago. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That ideology did not age well. It blurred the roles. It removed the hierarchy. It made men passive and women overly masculine. And we're watching the consequences right now in divorce court, in dating apps, and in resentment-filled households. Look around you. Is anybody happy? So when he says young men shouldn't be paying all the bills for girlfriends, he's 1000% correct. I'm going to go one step further. Most young men shouldn't even be structuring their lives around women at all. That's not even coming from a place of hatred. That's priority alignment. If you want to build a strong house one day, you better make sure you are a strong foundation without a woman standing on top of you first.
Even financially able to do that until I was 30, 31 years old. I'm about to be 36 soon. I've been living with my wife since I was 24 years old. Had my wife put pressure on me to pay all of the bills at 24, 25 years old, 26 years old, we wouldn't be together.
Absolutely.
Because I literally could not do it. I could not do it. And if I'm being honest, most men will never, in 2025, 2026, most men will never even be able to cover all the bills. It's too expensive. I'm teaching my sons to be leaders and providers, but not that they have to follow some crazy social media rhetoric that has been pumped onto our society the past 3 to 4 or 5 years.
I also think a lot of young people today, people in general, I think we got a spending problem. We just want things, unnecessary things. And that's part of the problem.
I'm teaching my sons, if you find a girl and you move in with a girl at 23, 24, 25 years old, and she's telling you that you need to pay all the run.
That's where we differ. Like, I understand his point about affordability. I get it. He's being honest. A lot of men in their 20s simply can't cover everything. It's just not happening. And he's right. Social media has created expectations that don't match economic reality. I agree with him there. Where we differ is how young men should move through that reality. I personally don't believe independence means leaving your parents' house just to say you did. I believe independence means owning something. If my son is building and stacking, investing, and staying home so he can eventually buy property outright with no mortgage, that's not weakness, that's strategy. That's something that was never provided for me. I want to be able to do that for him. Now, here's the bigger difference. I do not believe in living with a woman for years to figure it out. I did that. It failed. That's not vetting. It's procrastination. You can learn almost everything you need to know about a woman with direct conversations, how she treats authority, how she treats her family, how she freaking behaves in public, how she presents herself online. We all know her social media is her footprint. It's who she is, what her values are. And here's the part modern culture hates. A father should be involved. Period. If my son is considering a future wife, I need to meet her. I need to observe her. I need to ask questions he hasn't even thought to ask yet. That's not coming from a place of control. I'm protecting my son. Look, men don't need more experience. They need more discernment. And discernment doesn't come from cohabitation.
You're with this girl for some years, you guys are getting to know each other, that you know you're moving towards marriage, you want to marry this woman, have a family with this woman, then y'all start having a discussion. Is it even possible between the two of us? And then when I do this, what are you going to do with your money? Do you plan on working? Do you plan on being a stay-at-home mom? Have the full conversation. You're a partner, you're a leader in this household. That's what you are. And this is coming from a man who pays all the bills in his home. But I worked towards that. There also was no pressure towards that. And it was something that I just naturally felt like I wanted to do for my wife. That's how we got here. It's not because of social media. It's not because I'm a man and I'm supposed to do this. No. Do you know that most men don't even reach their highest earning potential until they're like 45 to 50 years old? And then you got women out here who are 22, 23 years old putting pressure on their 23, 24-year-old boyfriends to pay for everything. That's not realistic.
I respect that he pays all of the bills, man, because he worked toward it and nobody forced it out of him. And that matters. But I'm going to correct one thing. Men do not reach their highest earning potential at 45 or 50. Many men don't reach true leverage until their late 50s, early 60s. So when a 22 or 23-year-old woman demands 1950s outcomes from a 2025 economy, she's not asking for masculinity. She's asking for a fantasy. And this is where my disagreement stays firm. I would never advise my son to live with a woman who is not his wife. Cohabitation gives intimacy without commitment. It gives access without accountability, period. Emotional leverage without duty. Look, money doesn't give a man power over a woman. Money gives freedom from negotiating basic order in his own home. And that matters, especially today. Look, I'm going to close it here. A man who builds himself first never has to explain his standards later. That's how you do it. Look, whether I agree or disagree with the content creator, I think this brother and I would have a fantastic conversation. I'm going to link him down into the description. You can find him there. Obviously, it's the right thing to do. I've been doing that since I was a photographer. You always got to link the people that you either reacting with or maybe you worked with them, you should always link them in the description. I don't understand why people don't do that. It makes no sense to me. Anyhow, look, whether you guys agree with me or not, leave it in the comments and I'll see you guys on the next one.